Last discussion, we talk about how are you going to write a winning cover letter. And today, partner with your cover letter is the resume. We're going to talk about how are you going to write a winning resume. The resume is your personal brochure to market yourself. It should give your potential employer a quick view of what you can do for them. So for new graduates like you can list your accomplishments in school. Do not worry about not having any accomplishments or work-related accomplishments. You can pick out those school accomplishments that show responsibility, reliability, cooperative spirit, and the like. That's why you have to make the most of your experience while you are still in the university. You can cite those experiences that you have with extra and co-curricular activities, your membership to various academic or non-academic student organizations. So what are the suggested format or tips in writing your resume? This is how are you going to do it. You start, of course, with the most important thing, followed by with the less important, and so on and so forth. So what you can start is you write your name, your full name, your address. You have to be specific in your address. You have to write there the street, the house number, purok, and barangay. Why you have to be specific in your address? Because these potential companies of yours, they're going to make a background investigation, and one way of doing that is to visit your barangay or your residence. They're going to talk to your purok leader or to your barangay leaders, no? What are your participations, or are you really residents of that area? Then after you address, another important information that you have to provide there in your resume are your contact number and your email address. These two are important, especially in giving you feedback on the status of your application. And your companies, potential companies, they don't believe that you don't have any email address or contact number, because we are in a generation of technology. So you really have to make sure that you have a functional email address and your contact number is really yours. The next one is you have to write a summary statement. A summary statement is a gist of who you are in terms of your potential to the company, in terms of what you can contribute to the company, in terms of your competence, whether you can perform to the function or not. So, two things. When you're going to write your summary statement, let's go back to the second paragraph of your application letter. I said that when you write your second paragraph in your application letter, there are two things that you are going to highlight there. One is your work-related experience, and the other one is the attributes. No? What are the attributes that you possess that are related to the performance of the function or the requirements of the position? So that's the summary statement. Later on, I'm going to show a sample summary statement. How are you going to write it? The next one is your work or school related experience or OJT experience. Now, if you're working student, then you can write there, but you have to make it sure that your work experience during the time that you're still in the university are related to the position or to the requirements of the company, or your OJT experience, of course, for sure, are related to the requirements also of the potential company that you're applying to. So you have to cite that in your resume. The other one is that what are the job responsibilities that you have had in your internship or in your OJT experience? And I think it's there in your OJT manual, the manual that your OJT coordinators are giving to you during the time that you have your OJT. So you can copy those and include that in your resume, because those are specific assignments that you have had during your OJT. And the other one is your accomplishments or your recognitions or your achievements when you were in here in the university. If you have, for example, participation in a community extension, because it speaks about volunteerism, it speaks about you being a team player, no? And your exposure to other staff, that during the time that you're in the university, you're not just a plain student, but you also engage yourself to other or various or related activities that can at least bolster your experience, your qualification, and your competence. The last one is, of course, your education. So you see there's nothing there in your resume. You do not put anything that are not relevant to the position that you're applying to. No, there's nothing there that asks you about height, weight, and religion. That's why when you write your resume, you have to tailor fit the content of your resume based on, number one, on your competence, on your qualifications, on the things that you possess that you can offer to the company. And second, tailor fit the content of your resume based on the requirements of the company. That's why I suggest do not buy the ready-made biodata form that you can buy in the bookstore nor in store, because there are information that you may not be included, no, in your resume, and which are actually relevant to the position that you are applying to. So that's how are you going to write your resume. Remember this, in a gist, when you write your resume, 7 things that you have to remember, or you have to make it sure that these 7 things are there in your resume. Number 1, what can you do for me? When you write your resume, when you prepare your resume, you have to make it sure that this question is being answered in the content and substance of your resume. Second, do you have the skills I'm looking for? Third, where have you worked before? It's also important that you have to cite your work experience, the company that you had, your internship, your OJT, because aside from it was an opportunity for you to apply the learnings that you have learned from the university, for sure your work or internship experience have developed you have improved your soft skills, some of your soft skills. Like for example, work attitude skills, the ability for you to follow deadlines and instructions from the company, like wearing proper uniform, wearing an ID, coming to work on time, following the rules and regulations of the company. Those are very important stuff. Although sometimes we said that those are simple stuff, but those are very relevant stuff. Number 4, is your experience relevant to my needs? Number 5, do you have the right education and credentials? So you see, question number 4 and question number 5 are related to each other, which means that whether you have this experience or education and you're applying to a position that's quite different from the training and the experience that you have, give that to those people who have the relevant experience and training. Question number 6, what kind of person you are. So it's important that you also have to highlight your soft skills, your personal attributes. And last but not the least, where can I contact you? I overly emphasize the relevance of your email address and your contact number, because as I said, that whenever there's a need for you to report immediately or submit additional assigned documents or papers relevant to your application, this is the fastest way of the company telling you about those stuff. So I hope that with that information, you can start writing your resume.